Hi, I'm Adam Loretz from the Filmmakers Workshop, and today we're going to take a look at the Sony RX10 Mark II, a hybrid video and stills camera. So I've just had 2 days to get to grips with this unit, to have a play with the menus and shoot some footage. So stand by for my take on what's hot and what's not with the Sony RX10 Mark II. If, like me, you've owned an RX10 before, when you first set eyes on the RX10 Mark II, it's like doppelganger central. The two are practically identical, although it's only on the surface. Underneath, it's a completely different matter. These two are no more similar than Schwarzenegger and DeVito in Twins. So what's new with the Mark II? Well, for starters, Sony have implemented a brand new 1-inch stacked Exmor RS CMOS sensor with DRAM built in, which in layman's terms means it can push through a lot of data very quickly. Now this has opened up the camera to 4K video recording, which it does using the XAVCS codec at 100 megabits per second, and the results are pretty impressive. They've also upped their game with slow motion, big time. Most usefully, they've added 100 frames per second in HD at 100 megabits per second. And there's no discernible loss between that and 25 or 50 frames per second in HD quality. Now, if you're looking to record even slower motion, it's also got this high frame rate modes in 250, 500 and 1000 frames per second, which it does so by cropping in on the sensor. And to be honest, 1000 and 500, they're a bit yucky, but the 250 frames per second, pretty usable. And to put that into perspective, only a few years ago, the Sony FS700 cost about 7 grand. Wait, it's still 7 grand. And this is only £1,200. High frame rates aside, the image quality coming out of the RX10 Mark II is simply fantastic for a camera at this price point. In the time I had the camera, I didn't see any image issues such as moire or aliasing, and I have seen them once or twice in the original RX10, and that was enough. Another new feature, which will excite many filmmakers, is the ability to shoot in S-Log mode, which is a flat picture profile. Now this clearly puts this camera in the professional realms as a B camera to something like an A7S, an A7R2, or possibly even something larger like an FS7. So with S-Log, it shoots at a minimum ISO of 800, so if you're planning to shoot in daylight or wide open, you're going to have to engage its built-in ND filter or probably get a Vari ND for the front. Now speaking of shooting wide open, the RX10 Mark II has maintained the fabulous 24-200 constant f2.8 lens. The lens is stabilised too. It's something which certainly drew me to the original Mark I, but it's changed in two significant ways. First off, the zoom speed is noticeably quicker. There's actually an option for fast or normal mode. Fast mode, whilst recording, it will zoom the full optical range in 4 seconds. In normal mode, it's 9 seconds. And compared to the original RX10 Mark I, which was 13 seconds, that's a pretty impressive development. Like it. Now also, the fly-by-wire system has been updated. Now I can rack focus kind of 7 feet, a typical amount that I would normally rack focus in half a turn. So it's now really usable and impressive. New features aside, the RX10 Mark II maintains the fabulous feature set that drew me to the original Mark I. For starters, it's got decent I/O. It's got HDMI out at 8-bit, it's got a charging port, a headphone jack, 3.5mm mic jack, and on top there's an intelligent accessory shoe for Sony's XLR adapter. Or if you're like me, you can get a cheaper Beach Tech adapter which does the job perfectly well, giving you dual XLR, dual mono in via the 3.5mm jack. A feature which I find absolutely indispensable is the punch into focus magnification, which is available during record mode. I can't overstate how important this function is. I use it all the time. My only reservation is that in 4K mode, I found this punched in image not terribly sharp. And although I could use the other features such as peaking to achieve critical focus, I think this feature could do with a tweak in a firmware upgrade. as well as magnification mode, the RX10 also has, as I say, peaking, zebras, and it also has a 3-stop built-in ND, which is really good and helps you achieve critical focus and exposure. Now, from my experience, it's very easy to overexpose on the RX cameras, so keep it to the left, but know that if you do overexpose, the XAVCS codec is way better than AVC HD, probably 20 to 30% better at retrieving slightly blown out images. If, like me, you get a lot of run and gun corporate gigs, then the RX10 Mark II is well worth considering. For the most part, you can keep everything in focus with this 1-inch sensor and flip between manual and auto modes with this little dial on the front. You can get in close and get some pleasant shallow depth of field, or if, like me, you're trying to dodge and weave a whole gym full of burly weightlifters, then you know, go on auto mode and whiz around. For me, this is where the RX10 Mark II really shines, because you can go into the menu system and assign custom functions to the rear dial and the buttons on the back. And it means that when you're in the field and you need to make a small adjustment to things like ISO or your audio levels, you can do it and get the shot you need. Did I mention it shoots stills as well? If you're really serious about your photography, then you'll be pleased to know that this camera shoots in RAW and JPEG mode up to 20 megapixels at 14 frames per second. It takes decent panoramas too. Now, no camera is perfect, and with the RX10 Mark II there is one issue that I'm not keen on, and that's the battery life. It does all right for a battery of its size. It gives you about 45 minutes of video recording, and well, you know, the batteries are cheap and they're light and they're small, so hey ho, buy a few batteries and away you go. With all those features packed into a user-friendly, diminutive unit, the RX10 Mark II could easily be overlooked by professionals. However, the features will certainly tick most professionals' boxes, and if travelling light or remaining low-key are important to your shoot, then this camera could be the one for you. Now, if, like me, you primarily shoot video but need a camera to shoot stills, then this is an excellent choice, and as such, it's the kind of camera that's perfect to take on your travels for news gathering or for corporate videos. In summary, the RX10 Mark II is an excellent hybrid camera. It's small and fun, it's powerful and professional. Maybe it is Schwarzenegger and DeVito in one package. On a final note, I'd just like to thank Guy at Hire a Camera for loaning me this unit. I hope this overview and the images help you choose the right camera for your next filmmaking project. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like it and leave a comment, subscribe to our Filmmakers Workshop YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and let us know the next camera you want us to review. I'm Adam Loretz for the Filmmakers Workshop. See you next time.